come on.
Oh, Commander Sterling. Oh, come on now.
Oh.
The guy's already hurt. He's already injured. And now this is not good. I do not like the. I do not like what's in the cards here for. Oh no! No! Well,
I mean, they're not even supposed to be here in the building at all.
After taking a hiatus last year, E3 returned in 2021 to fill our pretty little heads with the same lies and hype the game industry has fed us for a time now spanning decades. Though many have argued the lack of huge shock announcements or exciting press conferences led to a particularly disappointing event this year. Indeed, opportunities to be lied to and sold a bill of goods were not quite so abundant, and E3 felt particularly forced. I mean, did Capcom need to do a presentation where it precisely had dick fuck to show for itself? Probably not. But I wasn't feeling cold toward E3 this year because it was a shitty E3, though make no mistake, it was a shitty E3. No, I was already not into E3 long before it began, and as it started, my feelings of eye-rolling apathy morphed, mutated if you will, into bitter, resentful, spiteful contempt. Something I've lately been told is off-brand for this show. Anyway, see, I've long since viewed E3 more as a work obligation than something to be truly excited for. And that goes back years? Like, when I think about it, I don't know the last time I didn't look at E3 and think, ugh, work. Once, I'm sure, a very, very, very long time ago, I had enough optimism and naivety to still view the Electronic Entertainment Expo as something approaching worth a shit. I remember being excited once. I can't remember what I was last excited about at E3, it was so long ago. Maybe Aliens vs. Predator by Rebellion in 2010? Look how that turned out. These days, however, it occurred to me that E3 is no longer a work obligation. The capital G gamers, those who live from video game to video game and talk about them in terms of a basic need like water or sleep, pretty soundly hate me. I've got nothing left to offer them. And I don't work for any games press outlets anymore, thank fuck, so I don't have to talk to the producers of AAA swill and pretend like I'm listening to the bullshit spewing from their holes while trying to ignore the abuses and exploitations of the publisher they work for. Doing press interviews and previews and refusing to hold the people who sell them accountable for anything they do seems like a shit job. Meanwhile, I've discovered that not watching E3 is absolutely definitely the new watching E3. I've long since been an innovator in E3 coverage, though as with everything I've innovated or selflessly given to the world, I'll never get credit for it. Because I am a genius with a huge brain that has knowledge in it, years ago I invented a method of journalistically covering E3 called, wait for it, not fucking going. This bold new journalistic style, not fucking going, TM, was something I applied to PAX as well as E3, as I learned that actually attending these events is the worst way to actually get information and provide worthwhile coverage of the event, at least in ways that don't involve cuddling up to industry mouthpieces. The only thing you can't do is preview games on the show floor, and, well, previews are functionally worthless. One of the creative differences that saw me leave an old Games Press job involved my not fucking going technique, which aims to provide better coverage by staying the bloody hell home where the good internet connection is, not ruining my feet on a show floor surrounded by a swarm of sweating men, and choosing instead to just insult literally everything on Twitter. That's good coverage. By not fucking going, I was able to see all of the events, know about all of the games, and generally have a bird's eye informative view of all the news, as compared to actually attending and just being tired and hungry and confused and hearing about what happened through startled conversations in the press room. Others have disagreed with my methods and said I had to start going to these events or it wouldn't work out. I didn't go. I have since evolved my technique and now offer a new form of E3 coverage called, wait for it, not fucking watching. And friends, I cannot begin to tell you how it has changed my life for the better. Possessed as I have been of pure bitterness toward the video game industry in general, and the Entertainment Software Association in particular, I decided this was the year to truly stop giving a damn about watching these stupid conferences full of garbage and shit. Instead of sitting through hours of people talking complete and total nonsense, you really can just wake up the morning after each E3 day and watch whatever trailers look interesting to you, without the marketing speak and auto-fallacious developer interviews, therefore having enough time for better things, like eating a sandwich. All these years I've endured press conferences and showcases and had to listen to them drone on and on about hardware sales and new SKUs and fucking football games and bloody Forza. And God, oh God, how much more of a life I could have had in the 2010s if I hadn't watched Microsoft and Sony just lie for days about their desperate Wii copying motion controllers. Oh, the time I could have saved if I hadn't sat through Peter Molyneux lying his fucking head off about Milo. Do you remember Milo? I don't. Not since Twitter banned him. With all that time saved, I could have at least gotten a few more wanks in. By not fucking watching, I freed literal hours upon hours of my life, so I may live it to the fullest. Note that I said I may live it to the fullest. I haven't been. But I've been living better than I would if I'd kept watching that Square Enix presentation. Doing nothing but watching wrestling and playing pinball is a sort of a life. But seriously though, that Square Enix presentation, what the fuck was that? I really did try this year just once to see if it was worth actually giving one of these presentations a shot. The presentation began with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they showed that game off for so fucking long, I felt my entire life would end with Guardians of the goddamn Galaxy. Why give over that much time to what, let's be honest, looks like an video game, TM. I mean, its gameplay looks factory standard, visually it don't stand out, it's got that Marvel's Avengers thing going on where the characters will look just enough like their film counterparts to resemble cheap knockoffs, and if we're gonna shun diplomacy, we might as well admit that no AAA game is worth dedicating that much time to previewing. Hardly any of them are worth even playing. I think I got as far as maybe the second long-winded developer interview after some other game I can't fucking remember before I thought fuck this and switched it off. It was everything I've come to expect from any E3 showcase. Bloviated, vacuous, and way too goddamn boring. Later on, I watched a trailer for Babylon's Fall and found it really interesting, until the news dropped that it was being developed as a live service title, because they're still doing that wretched crap. And I pretty immediately decided the game could fuck off and never take up precious RAM in my huge space brain ever again. Just fuck that shit. Fuck off with your live services from now on. I literally don't have time for it. Nobody careening toward middle age does. They certainly shouldn't have time for live services. You're too near death to play Marvel's The Avengers, you old millennial fuckers. Stop before it's too late. So this year I thought I'd peruse the trailers that looked interesting and fuck off the stuff that didn't. And you really do save so much time when you cut out the garbage like the totally not political Battlefield 2042 and everything Ubisoft has and ever will publish because their CEO protected abusers for years and still hasn't told us everything he knew. Oh, and let me bloomin' tell you, E3 going in early with the Vatican of video games and its Ubi-forward event was pretty much all the sour taste I needed to remain resentful the rest of the week. Just seeing everyone but a minority of people forget what Ubisoft was caught out for just last year was quite frankly grotesque, to say nothing of the pushback I got when I decided to offer a reminder. People are so slavishly devoted to their precious publishers, they truly do not want to hear a bad word said about the capitalist corpos who produce and sell the video games. I get accused now of talking about it too much, and I'm told to just move on and get over it, as if everything Ubisoft did and covered for and continues to perpetuate never happened. Because Assassin's Creed! Seriously, receiving angry messages from Ubersimps because they want to be excited about toys made under the leadership of actual monsters provides a particularly unique form of disillusionment with both the industry and the community around it. And people wonder why there's an occasional bitter tone in these videos. I'm so sorry if refusing to forget what the company did inconveniences anybody, but it's kinda hard for some of us to forget that Ubisoft spent years protecting abusers, moving them around to avoid too many complaints, while Human Resources buried reports of inappropriate behaviour up to and including sexual assaults. Despite the company's claims, things are reportedly no different. Employees still report feeling unsafe and say nothing has really happened except for the company jettisoning those publicly named as abusive. Yves Guillemot, CEO of the company, was friends with these abusers and continues to avoid questions regarding his own complicity. IGN, meanwhile, placed far more priority on shilling Far Cry 6's bullshit DLC to us, because that's what the gamers TM want. No think, only by. Aside from a few outliers, almost all of games media completely forgot what Ubisoft did and are using their precious industry access to do the same shit they've always done. Act as glorified PR for shitty companies. So what I'm saying was, it was a bad way for my week to kick off on a personal note. Well, I mean, becoming the right-wing outrage machine's punching bag of the week was not a great way to start it, but hey, at least I don't expect any better there. I mean, I really should stop expecting better anywhere. I can at least say I've gotten a new appreciation for pretty much everything outside of the mainstream as the AAA space becomes more and more distasteful and the games made become less and less for me. There are interesting things among the boring mass of digital dreck. First of all, Skatebird got a release date, and Skatebird might as well be the only video game ever released as far as I'm concerned. Look! Look at the burbs! Look at them skate! Look at them flap! Look at them flap and skate! They're chonky little fat little burbs on the skating boards, and I want to look after every single one of them and protect them from predators such as cats or Ubisoft executives. Now that's good video game. What else? Replaced? That looks real good. It's got like beautiful animation and shit. I like that. Tiny Kin? That looks nice, doesn't it? Look, very beautiful cartoon animation and some puzzle-solving Pikminery. I'm into that. As a fan of Pony Island and Hex, this follow-up game Inscription looks bloody marvellous. I mean, it's an interesting thing with cards, which I'm not fond of like card games, but card game mechanics in other things I'm all aboard for. The visuals are like a CD-ROM freak show. I'm very much into it. Why would I play Battlefield 2042 when I could play Gloomwood? It's probably more political. I like the premise of Somerville, being a family trying to escape during an alien invasion while all of the video game action's going on and you're just trying to run away from it. I really like that perspective. So that looks like that's going to be good. I was looking up a reminder. This one's called Hunt the Night. I know that I'm just doing an audio recording while looking at the trailer. I haven't even got headphones on. Oh, that looks really neat. I know I'm known to be a bit of a sucker for these retro-looking indies like this. Oh, that's cute though. Come out of a closet, did that monster. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hunt the Night. Justin, I don't know how you're going to edit that audio without it being confusing, mate. Wizard with a Gun is called Wizard with a Gun, and Death Trash is called Death Trash. Aside from the fact both those games look good, the names sell me enough. In all honesty, there was a ridiculous number of indie games shown off this year that got a little more breathing space because the major AAA publishers failed to bring their AAA game. And that's good. Because a lot of good games are being made, and I'll admit that I often lose sight of that because I focus way too much on the big mainstream shit. So I need to focus less on that. Also, A Plague Tale Requiem was announced. That's obviously high on my list of interests since the first is one of my favourite games ever, and that'll do for positive stuff. Now on to Nintendo, locking increasingly functional content behind its amiibo bollocks. I used to defend those things, those amiibos, but once they started locking full-on quality of life improvements for fucking remasters behind expensive plastic tat, they could officially fuck off till the end of time. Even their one big fan-pleasing announcement, Metroid Dread, has been undermined both by amiibo locking upgrades, but also releasing yet another special edition in such limited quantities that eBay is already full to the brim with scalpers offering it an absurd markup. And that's not just Nintendo's fault, that's the fault of this entire community. What have we done to ourselves? What have we done to ourselves that it's acceptable to put games up for $200+ the moment they're actually announced? I shit on game publishers for price hikes and conning the public. Stop putting them to shame. Just no matter what the game, no matter the announcement, it's the same old shit. I watched the Devolver Digital event, obviously, yearly tradition, I will watch that one. But even Devolver's bit of performance art this year fell flat with me, considering their smug takedown of video game monetization follows the release of a literal fee-to-pay title in Fall Guys, which reminds you that, well, despite all of the words and the performances, Devolver Digital is still a corporation like all the rest. To say nothing of the audio-visual noise and poor audio mix making much of their video unpassable to me, at least personally. God damn, I'm hollow. Sony had the right idea. It's had the right idea for a while now. Fuck E3. Nobody really needs it. It's just a waste of your time and the industry's money. As E3 wraps up for another year, I've come to the conclusion that I truly do hate all video games, every single person who's ever made one, everybody who's ever played one, everybody who's ever looked at one, and everybody who's even so much as heard of video games. I hate video games because they made me hate video games, because after well over a decade of covering this abusive, shitty, exploitative, predatory industry, nothing has changed. Even worse, nobody wants it to change. In fact, the only thing people seem to want changed is me. They want me to stop going on about it. The press won't hold it to account. The community just wants to be guiltlessly hyped for corporate products. The publishers continue to scare money out of vulnerable people with manipulative economies, continue to treat their workers like absolute shit, and continue to produce lower and lower quality products for the benefit of shareholders and shareholders alone. Like I said last year, it's just a truly fucked up industry, and it's made me feel burn the fuck up from the inside out. But I'm not gonna stop going on about it, because so few of us do. And friends, it needs going the fuck on about. And that's my report for E3 2021. See you next year. Hype!
Commander Sterling making their way down to the ring. What do they want crashing the proceedings here?
Oh, you see, that commentator used there as a pronoun. You see, wrestling commentators, it's that simple. Sorry, some shit happened this weekend. I've been very busy this weekend. It's why I don't have your traditional live action intros and outros, but next week we'll talk about the commentators that refused to gender me properly and then threatened to punch my fans in the face and then locked their Twitter account after trying to be a tough guy on the internet. Ha 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 ha. Now that's punk. And thank God for me. It's really not that difficult. They, them. It's they, them.